Live, and those of you that are listening via the internet, via the stream. My name is Stephen Williams III. I'm originally from Maryland, USA. Here, most of you know me as Yehoshua. I'm the CEO of a company called African Century. We have a company based here in Ghana, as well as in the USA, and that's for strategic purposes. One of the things that we're here to do is to galvanize us, to create a holistic living environment that deals with everything that pertains to our existence holistically.
Now, numerically, we number 200 million people, but we don't really know each other, and we don't really even do business with each other. So it was important that we know that we have investors on that side who are interested in doing investment in Africa, Ghana/Africa. So you will be presenting, making your pitch, they will be listening, and then we'll see if we can get a match. Astar, because we know both parties, will act as a guarantor for either side. You cannot come to Africa, Ghana, and do business blindly. Many have tried, many have broke. So we will be the intermediary. So Uncle Burchill is in Jamaica. There are others in Barbados, others in the US. I believe Al Hawkins from Maryland, and he will talk about his organic fertilizer that will really revolutionize the farming industry. It's remarkable what he has achieved. And he did come to Ghana. You want me to move? He came to Ghana to give them his product, but the Ghanaian, the cocoa board specifically, wanted $12,000 just for him to introduce his product. And then Paul Pumphrey will talk about chocolate. Ghana has chocolate, #2 producer, but they make about $2 billion. Paul will tell us how we can make $10 billion, 5 times the amount in 1 year. So I'm going to introduce Uncle Burchill from Jamaica. I think he's in Marcus Garvey's town, St. Anne's, and then we can go from there. Parish. Brother Joshua, make the connection, please. Uncle Burchill, introduce him so we can hear him speak. Excited to be in the presence of some people who I hold in high esteem, and I call them, we use the word genius. And Brother Kwaminat, if I embarrass you, I'm sorry, but you are a genius. Brother Kwaminat, I've known him for years. And his wife. You know, we always talk about the husbands. Well, without the woman, what would you do without your company? What would you do without your company? Hey? You know, seriously, that's Sister Abena. And she's been running the company while he's doing development, but she's running the company. And I say this because we always talk about Marcus Garvey, but his wife, Amy Jack Garvey, in her own right, was a force to reckon with. And he had a second wife, Amy Ashwood Garvey, and Amy looked like Marcus Garvey, the thing for Amy's. But Sister Abena and Brother Kwaminat are software developers for years, and if they had the support, I mean, they do well on their own, but they had the support governmentally and even the private sector, we would be ahead of, I wouldn't even say much of the software development company or like Google, all these names that you hear about. We'd be ahead of them. But we're always looking at white people and what they've done, but we have our own, but we neglect them. And I'll give you one example. There's a brother here I know named Prince. Remember Prince? Prince went to Canada, went to school, came back to Ghana. And when he came back, he started an IT company. What Prince did, I saw him in 2001. Prince was doing IT. At the time, MTN wasn't here. Like what MTN is doing, what Prince was doing back then. And he never got the support from the Ghana government. They were overcharging him money that he would need to get a license. So Prince closed down. Prince closed down, MTN comes in. White people. Airtel comes in, Indian people. And so you see, we don't support our own. So this forum is about encouraging the young people to get into entrepreneurship, get into innovation like he did, but we need, as a people, we need to support each other. So sometimes we complain here that we don't have money, but we do. You have the idea, match it with those who have the money. And we do have the money, trust me, black people have the money. So there is a couple funding sources here. I don't know if Brother Yash wants to say something, Brother Tyrone. What the minimum investment they're looking for is $10 million, at least. But they're looking to fund green technology, things that will improve the community. The money's out there. And there was another lady, she left, but they have $270 million that they want to use to promote or support tech companies. And they're all black. Where's your black own everything? Brother Joshua, I'm waiting on you, King. He's not there? What about Al Hawkins? Are they on? Or Paul Pumphrey? I thought you guys did a dry run on this already. What about Paul Hawkins? Is he on? Sorry, Al Hawkins. He's in Maryland. He can do his presentation to Uncle B. Me, Sister Victorious, and their wonderful dance troupe, which you guys saw downstairs. They did a wonderful performance. Really excellent, and keeping the tradition alive. They need funding, or requesting funding for the amazing job they're doing in the community, helping our black youths. We have EcoNexus. Again, they have a fuel, which is economically friendly. Instead of polluting the environment, if you go up north, they burn down the trees constantly, and that damages the environment. Y'all heard about climate change, right? So with this innovation, they didn't invent fire, but with this innovation, it could solve a lot of the problem. It's not that expensive, and they already got a couple sales just from this forum alone. So they're gonna be presenting. We're just waiting for the connection. Then I got beside me Brother Kwaminat, my brother. We go way back. And again, when it comes to software development, nobody can touch him. I got another brother here, Brother Damas, a humble brother. And I'm glad you came. He's also a software developer. He has his own company, and his wife. First time meeting her today. And then, of course, the star of the show is Mr. Ben Amoko, the robotics brother champion. You know, if he had on a football jersey and football and go play for the Black Stars, he would have been all over the media. But all he did was kick butt internationally. And when he came back, he got a handshake with the president, a picture, a photo op, Minister of Education, but no money. But what he did was amazing, not just once, twice. First in robotics and second in coding. These are our heroes. I mean, and if he wanted to, he could go outside and work for anybody, but he wants to stay in Ghana. And he has a certain teaching style that can accommodate, where he can teach many children at the same time, as opposed to focusing on one or two. And he wants to really touch the rural community. And yeah, they go beyond robotics. Some of these children in the rural, they never even been to Accra. So for them just to leave there and come, thanks King B, and come to the city, it's a big deal, it's exposure. So I want you all, as you are here, to really think to support. Some of us have contacts, we've lived outside, we have contacts. Let them know what we have going on. It's not all bad news in Ghana, and we just need to support Sister Victorious. We need to support ExoNexus and Brother Ben, right? So I'm still waiting for a connection. Okay, so listen, maybe you can talk about yourself. No, nothing else to say. But the whole idea is for them to hear you with the presentations. You want to do your best?
Hold on, I want to know something. For the presentation, would I sit down because we have our board here? Can I do it from there?
Sure. Go to the camera. Love the camera can capture you.
Okay.
So go ahead, do that.
Okay. We'll do an improv. Paul, join me. And then when we get connection, we'll do it personally, live. All right, peace and blessings. My name is Victoria Swanjiro, and I'm the founder of Khalifa Consulting and the Universal Family Network. I first came to Ghana in 2007, and I've been coming back and forth. And then in 2020, I moved here. Paul was a star of his class. He was a scholar, he was a leader, always sitting at the front, always willing to help out and support. And still 15 years later, he's still by my side supporting the work that we're doing. Give thanks. Couldn't do it without Paul and our Universal Family Network. So basically, oh, perfect. Thank you so much. So basically, we have an LLC that is based in California, and we focus on educational and wellness consulting. It's a holistic education consultancy. So my background is in education. I taught in the American ghettos from Inglewood to Bayview, Hunters Point, West Oakland, Lower Bottoms, Upper Bottoms, and after I left the teaching profession, I opened up an educational consultancy. So we provide educational support for families that want to homeschool their children. They want to get them out of the public school system. Because as you all know, we can't allow the enemy to teach our children. So we provide culturally responsive education and support. Say you want to homeschool your children, you reach out to us, we can support you in that process. Say you're a university professor, they brought us out to Legon to do workshops and trainings around educational consulting and holistic healing. So we focus on holistic healing. We focus on cultural exchange, cultural dance, arts, and African spirituality. And it's those resources from these workshops, from these trainings that we offer from our holistic education consultancy that support our NGO, the Universal Family Network.
Okay, so the Universal Family Network was established 2 years ago. But I wouldn't say 2 years ago. I have been a beneficiary of this organization for a very long time. That was way back 15 years. But it officially came into its existence 2 years ago. Our main goal and aim is to offer holistic education and wellness to the Ghanaian kids or the Ghanaian youth, those that are coming from less privileged homes. An example is myself. So at the Universal Family Network, we help the kids in teaching, like in reading, writing, and IT works. So if I say IT works, dealing with laptops, iPads, how to use the internet. For myself, I never had access to the internet until I was 18 years old. That was when I moved out from senior high school. That was when I had my first laptop. That was given to me by the same organization, the Universal Family Network. And also supports nursing mothers or pregnant women with free childbirth. Mrs. Victorious is a doula. She helps pregnant women with their childbirth. And yeah, let me see.
Yes. So, right, moms that are going in labor and they don't want to be in the hospital, they want a traditional home birth. They'll hire me, I'll support them labor at home, right? And it's these resources from these moms that we're able to offer free birth support to Ghanaian moms, right? Similarly, Paul was talking about some of the giveaways and the drives that we have. So being a former educator in San Francisco, I asked my teachers and community members to ship over. Every 2 years, they give the teachers in San Francisco new laptops. The old laptops were just sitting in cabinets. So we'll write letters to the San Francisco Alliance of Black School Educators and request that they give us these old laptops or these books and these school supplies, and then we share them, we get them refurbished, and we share them with the Ghanaian community. If you check YouTube, 1,000 laptops for Ghana 2016 was when we first started this project, and like Paul said, he was a beneficiary. Okay. So currently we're based in Anya, Awushi area, and we have our compound. It's a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom compound that serves as our youth center, our Africa B&B for diasporans that are transitioning to Ghana, right? A lot of people want to come, they visit, they're staying in these, ritzy, expensive areas. If you want to come off the beaten path and maybe extend your stay for a month or 6 months, then we have space at our headquarters. And again, it's these resources from our room rentals that allow us these funds so that we can support our community youth and providing, like he said, free birth support for the moms, massages, and energy healing. So at our headquarters, we have our youth, our guest house, and our library. We also have a sister here in the front row, Mama Efua. supported us in some community healing work with a new mom. So it's also about connecting and bridging with our sisters. So give thanks. So currently, we are fundraising to secure this headquarters. In 2020, when we rented this space, it was a great deal, but we didn't know that the owner wanted to sell the space, and they want to sell it for $90,000. So we've been fundraising, we've been selling our wares, making clothes. Like one of our students here, Sammy, he made this dress by hand. Okay. So we have multiple different income streams that we're using to fundraise for to secure our headquarters. So currently we have $42,000 and we still need 48 more to go. Thank you. Some of our various income streams. We talked about the Africa B&B room rentals. We talked about the childbirth education. We talked about the cultural exchange trips and retreats that we offer in addition to homeschool and world school support. We have 9 different income streams and we're working on number 10. Paul, can you talk about these last 2, please?
Okay, so at the Universal Family Network, we also have been able to set up a craft shop. So that at this craft shop, we produces jewelry. That's what I'm wearing today. That's what Ms. Victoria is wearing. We have instruments of all kinds. We have the ngoni, we have the djembe drums, we make the xylophone. What traditional instrument at all do you need? Like we have the ballophone too. So that's one thing that we've been doing over the years to get an income stream to support the work that we've been doing. And we also have our Motherland Wellness Store. In the store, we produce natural wellness products and superfoods. You know, like she's also a dietitian. Like she's able to provide and improve the food that you eat, especially raw food. I wasn't used to that food. I was always used to starchy food and the other ones, but ever since I had an encounter with her and she introduced me to the raw diet, I think it's been a great thing for me. So that's what we've been doing. We're providing these things to support. Aside that one too, we also have land in the Volta region, 16 plots of land, and another 2 in the Ashanti region. Right now, our main aim and goal with that plot of land is to plant cashew trees. We want to get into the cashew business to be able to provide cashew butter, cashew nuts, or any other thing that will be able to get any other product that will be able to make out of the cashew nuts. So that's what we'll be getting our income from.
So we currently have 86 cashew seedlings and we'll be planting this rainy season in Abuzabe. Yes, sir. So we serve between 15 to 20 kids weekly. They come to our community center, ages 2 to 15. And like we said, we provide out-of-school support, whatever they need, in addition to food, hospital, whatever we can, whatever they need, depending on our resources. And then lastly, our impact. So over the course of the 15 years, we've done various workshops where we've supported 400 children. We've had 15 giveaways, so technology drives, backpacks, clothes, books. We've supported a number of Diaspora'S, visit and relocate. We built 2 libraries with over 1,000 books, thanks to the teachers in San Francisco Unified School District. And we've supported 10 children last semester with their school fees and books. So, if you're interested in being a part of this global movement, please reach out to myself, reach out to Paul. We'd love to talk to you more about our educational endeavors and our wellness projects. Anything else, Paul?
Yeah, and you can follow our social media handle at Khalifa Consulting, or you can also visit our website at www.khalifaconsulting.com to get more information about us. Thank you very much.
I just want to say, I have yet to give birth, but working with Paul. He was, like I said, my student when he was 8 years old. And to see him now giving these presentations makes me a proud teacher. So another clap for Paul. And when we were downstairs, he's like, that was my first time doing a presentation. How did I do? I was like, phenomenal. So this is his first time giving a talk. So again, we continue with this youth development, developing our young leaders and scholars so that they can feel comfortable in a room with a leader. So thank you.
Great job, Sister Victorious. Brother, is Uncle Bertrand on the phone? Okay, so please bring him in so he can introduce himself. A couple of things. Uncle Burchill is in charge of a company called Alternative Energy. They have a cooler that is solar powered. It's not a cooler that you put your beer and your drinks in. It's more like a warehouse. So they want to bring it to the northern region where we can preserve a lot of things that we need to preserve, like maybe tomatoes or fruits, also fish. But that's an innovation made by an African, and then they want to bring that. So that's one example. So Uncle Burchill, please come in and you can talk about that. I don't like technology. Okay, so while they're connecting, there's another gentleman in Jamaica. This is awesome. He has a device that if you were to attach it to your car and you run out of fuel, it will run for another 300 kilometers on water. Wow. On water. And it's not a guess, it's already patented, it's already on the market. What's interesting is why they haven't killed him yet. Because most people, yeah, and he will tell you why. He has something on them. And anyway, so it's like a trade-off. You can do this, but there's another invention he has that they don't want him to touch. So it's like a trade-off. And so they allow him to do the water. And so we were hoping to get that here, but the delivery didn't come. There's a number of products we were hoping to get here, but delivery didn't come. So we need our own delivery service. Where's our own DHL? Yeah. Where's our own FedEx? Where's our own everything? This is a theme. Where's the Black Star Line? It was sold. It was in Ghana. It was sold under a former president. So again, all these ideas were Marcus Garvey, and so we need to revisit and implement it. So there's another product, and this is what it's all about. We want to just introduce products that is out there, but we're not familiar with it for whatever reason. So we're helping to promote it. That's what Astar is doing. It's an eye product developed in the 70s for cataract and glaucoma. And I've tried it here. I gave it to the Northern Chief in Mamprusa Kingdom. He was amazed, and I gave it to another brother. He came back to me and said, Brother Yao, not only did they clear my eyesight, I don't wear glasses anymore. And these are, we have a lot of things in our geniuses that's out there. But so we need to promote and talk about it. So this is the forum. This is an avenue for us to connect those dots. Of course, we have a great robotic teacher who doesn't get any accolades from the government, but it doesn't matter. We're going to get funding for him, and we're going to support our children. Are we connected yet? Let's bring another chair. Can you just grab a chair, please, and come sit beside us? Okay, are we okay, Ben? What's going on with the connection? Ben?
We're having a temporary issue trying to connect, so we're
Okay, Brother Joshua, you want to say anything before you go? I know you have to go.
Sure.
Thank you, brother. Peace and blessings to everyone. My birth name is Stephen Williams III. Most people here know me as Yehoshua. I'm the CEO of African Century Limited. It's a Ghana-based company. We also have a U.S. affiliate. The purpose of our company is to, number one, galvanize us, to bring us together, to holistically solve the issues that we face as a people. We are into community development, but it's more than just building houses and homes and selling land. Because if you notice something here in Ghana, just like in any other place, there's no centralized location where many people that hear me speak publicly, I use a word that I learned.
I'm going to ask you to restart your
Again, peace and blessings to everyone here live, and those of you that are listening via the internet, via the stream. My name is Stephen Williams III. I'm originally from Maryland, USA. Here, most of you know me as Yehoshua. I'm the CEO of a company called African Century. We have a company based here in Ghana, as well as in the USA, and that's for strategic purposes. One of the things that we're here to do is to galvanize us, to create a holistic living environment that deals with everything that pertains to our existence holistically. If you notice something, particularly those of us from the diaspora, we come here, we're over here, there. There's no centralized hub. Unlike other ethnic groups in other places, particularly like in the USA or wherever, let's say for example Chinese. You go, they have a Chinatown in any major city. Am I telling the truth?
Yep.
Y'all awake? Okay, good. Okay, but they have a Chinatown. How many black businesses are in Chinatown? Talk to me. Sister knows, she's in San Francisco. I was there with my brother Steve Coakley in 2019. They have a smaller one in Oakland. They have a Chinatown in Washington, D.C., like my backyard. LA, everywhere. And if you go to Chinatown, you don't start no mess, right? Where's Diaspora Village?
Where's Little Africa Town?
Where's Little Africa Town?
We got one else.
We have a culture, we have a history, we have innovation, and I'm not talking about just folk that are born in the USA. We have no space to aggregate and leverage our economic power, whereby our history, our culture, our prowess, our innovation can come together and collectively. It's just not about us from the diaspora, but by you also, you that are born here also. Because the transatlantic slave industry complex devil monster not only impacted us in the diaspora, but also you that were born here. Let's be real about it. We don't talk about the impact that the slave trade had on you all born here. Because you're still dominated by a colonial system that controls you economically, controls your children educationally, controls you culturally, controls you socially, and definitely controls you economically. Our job is to create a space, number one, where we can heal from our trauma. Because anybody from the diaspora comes to Africa think that you don't suffer from some level of PTSD, you're grossly fooling yourself. If you've been under the system of the oppressor, any ounce of time you have been somewhere messed with your mind to the point that we can't even work together. We can't even support each other. We give each other services that are under par and not high standards. We are a people historically that come from excellence. That's why every other group of people on the face of the earth learned how to do things from our excellence that our ancestors manifested. Anything below excellence is not acceptable. That's the spirit of Marcus Garvey, believe it or not. That's why that man was sharp every time he spoke. He was articulate, and he represented excellence. Am I telling the truth, or am I making something up? So that being said, we have access to something, to investors. But here's the deal: we had to go through the same process ourselves. Because with our township project that we're doing, which is going to be historical in scope, I won't go into detail now because we will have the official launch within 60 days or less. This is one of our partners here and founders of the company, Brother Tyrone here. Raise your hand. Tyrone is from Columbus, Ohio, but he is interesting. All of us have a backdrop in Maryland. One of our other brothers I went to middle school with in Maryland, we didn't meet until the day we got our citizenship in 2019. But he's part of the team also. That being said, we have access to an enterprise that wants to fund black projects. Not just in Africa, but wherever we reside. But here's the deal. When we found out about the funding, we had to do some work. They say 90% of the people that want funding don't get funding because they fail to do the work that's required. Any venture capitalists that we know, everybody here wants money, they expect certain things in return. Now, how much conviction and passion do you have your product and your service? If that's the case, you will do whatever it takes. It was nights within a 4-month span that we worked from 5 o'clock at night to 5:30 in the morning. Am I telling the truth? Sometimes you would hear one of the people via Zoom snoring on the other end because we were getting it done. We paid someone $1,500 to start our business plan. We said this is not acceptable. We did it ourselves and spent hours doing it. Why? Because that's what the funding institution expected. Then we had to come up with our financials. None of us are accountants, but we did what it takes, because if you don't have it, you gotta, listen, that's what our ancestors would do. You do what it takes to make it happen. If you don't know, you get a book, you go on the internet, you get something, they got YouTube videos to show you how to do an Excel spreadsheet. If you don't do that, ask someone for help. But we had to do what it took. Make a long story short, and y'all heard it from our consultant that helped us getting this funding. They said, based upon the quality of work that we put in, our company has the standard for any other company to submit their project. That's Black excellence. And I'm not saying that to tap myself on the back. It's just something I expect. I don't get up every morning. Let me rephrase it. I wake up every morning expecting to win. I will not see myself as a victim to no white person, no Chinese, no Lebanese. I've learned this mindset while here, that look at challenges, look at fiascos, look at compromise and corruption as opportunities. That I see challenges that we face, we can create solutions. Think about the inventions some of the ancestors that were on the plantations in the Americas did. They did that not because they were interested in money. They said, how can I make my life easier? Just think of the cotton gin, for example. How can I make my life easier? Which turned into a multi-million-dollar industry or product that's still being used as far as taking raw materials and turning into textiles. That being said, the one thing that we're working on is the framework for a township, a holistic township, dealing with medical, dealing with educational, dealing with education, technology, circular economy, rest and relaxation and entertainment. Because how many of us know? Because one thing that disturbs me here in Ghana, what I see, is something that our ancestors suffered. People working 6 days a week, and the only day off is to go to church to hear the white man's bullshit.
Well, right now, ladies. Let's get into this.
I can't lie. That's what my ancestors went through. I don't know about anybody else. But work 6 days a week and very little time where you see husbands and wives go out with their children to enjoy life and smell the roses. Am I telling the truth or am I making it up?
Talk about it.
But yet you see the Lebanese up on Spintex, own all the damn businesses up there. And who's working for them to help making them prosper?
The black man, the black woman.
Right across the street here, Palace Mall. Right up and down here is Melcom. And then we got our sisters here that live here, born here for generations, selling the same wares that Melcom sells, and they compete against each other to make the CD. But yet, we go to Melcom, and then the people go to Melcom to support them. That's disaggregation and ineffective that keeps us in poverty.
Go on, talk about it.
Because we need to see us working together as a collaborative, and our competitors are those on the outside. Look at the audacity, the mitigating gall of Chinese people to open up a mall, China Mall, right next to West Hills Mall. How do you like that? I ain't mad at it. Like I tell my brothers and sisters back in the States, they talk about, hey, Wow. What about all them Chinese here? I said, because they here because your black behind ain't here. They taking advantage of opportunities that you just laying open for them because you too busy begging white people to give you reparations that they ain't never gonna give you. They just gave the Jews something and they not thinking about you. Where we should be here getting our reparations. We got a chief that y'all will tell you about that says they're responsible to restoring unto us land. Whether we came here naked, penniless, because they see us as our family. Up in the north, not one time were we called O'Brunies or whites. Y'all looking at me like I just...
Break it down.
I'm telling you.
Break it down.
I'm telling you.
Break it down.
See, we have to learn, I'm going to say this in closing. We have to learn to be strategic and tactical. Number one, we don't need to advertise everything we do.
Word.
Number two, excellence is not an option.
Second word.
Say it with me. Excellence is not an option.
Second word.
When your child brings home a D-, do you say, oh, do better the next time? No, your behind is not going out. You're not doing nothing. You're going to get there and get this fixed. At least that's how I had to deal with it. I remember bringing home essays. My mother was an English teacher, didn't turn to be a principal. I come from a family of educators too. Marker, it was 2.5 pages. How many can relate to that?
Now I just have one question, Brother Yeshua. If you brought home an essay, did you bring home an MA and a BA and a CA and a DA as well, or you just brought home an essay?
But anyway, bruh. Anyway, I said number 2 was excellence. Number 3 is organization. Kwame, formerly known as Stokely Carmichael, kept talking about organizing. Organization, organizing. That's something that is a breach in our productivity and our advancement, not being organized. You start by being organized in your personal life and in your business. Put it together. There's a passage for those that know Bible that says, write down the vision and make it plain so when men see it, they can run with it. That's a parallel truth of anything you say, think, and do. Your business plan is your vision. Because anytime somebody brings you other opportunities, it doesn't have you over here, then over here, it keeps you focused. And then when people see your vision, they can jump on board and help you fulfill it. Are you getting me? That's the purpose of a business plan, because it lets the people that know on the other side that want to invest in you see that, hey, you got a plan. You have a plan to how to get it accomplished and how you're going to plan to keep it going and advance and benefit not only yourself, but the people that are investing. Y'all hearing me? And finally, the other part, be willing to let someone help you finish it. My philosophy is I'd rather share $1 billion than just to have 100,000 in my pocket with a title that means absolutely nothing.
Years, this software platform is a solution to some of the problems that we experience here in the continent. So for those people who are not born in the United States or familiar with or people who are familiar with how it works outside of the United States. Whenever we step outside here in Ghana, in Kenya, in Jamaica, and there's a problem like a car accident, a medical issue, oftentimes it's not clear as to exactly how you get help, right? You might call a number here in Ghana, you might have the number of a police officer, a doctor, or something like that, and you're actually randomly trying to get help because there isn't a centralized form of help such as 911 that we're used to in many of these so-called first world countries. So my wife and I have an experience where we actually moved to Kenya, and within the first year of moving to Kenya, one of the things that we found out is that the road network there was very hazardous. Drivers were very crazy in the way that they drove, and every day was an adventure. You'd see people cutting you off, doing all types of crazy things. And it really occurred to us that something needed to be done so that people could report what was happening on the road to the agencies that were there, and something could be done. So being software developers, having a lot of experience, we said, we'll create the solution. So our initial foray into this was just developing something that people could take a picture of some incident occurring, send it into some centralized system, and then it gets distributed to those who have some sort of a concern with that issue. But being perfectionists, we kept on adding additional features as we saw that we needed to address more things than just traffic, right? There was medical issues. We've seen people drop down in front of us and no one knows what to do. We don't even know which number to call. We've seen situations where crime and anything ranging from petty crime all the way up to serious crimes are occurring, and the sequence of events that need to to be done is not quite clear, right? You try to call a police officer, he doesn't answer his phone, he doesn't get back to you, nothing is clear. So we began to pour more resources, more time into developing a system that was more comprehensive. Now, it's been 6 years, we've added a phenomenal amount of effort and thought and ingenuity into the system, and we called the system Jammy Online. Jammy is a Swahili word which means community or society, and our system is designed to put the entire community online and have the entire community communicating with the service providers, everywhere from the government, down to schools, down to hospitals, and then communicate with you. So that's step one. So any issue that you have, the system has a way of reporting that issue and having it route to the appropriate service provider and having that service provider communicate back with you directly. Now, that wasn't enough for us because we really understood that some of these services, really and truly, you can't count on them calling you back in a timely manner. You can't count on them doing the right thing in the right order. So we determined that we wanted to empower the citizens of Africa to be able to not only report something, but to be assured that what you were reported was actually acted upon. And how do we do that? We keep open statistics on every report that happens. So if I report a fire, if I call for police, there's an open, traceable statistic. It's immutable, which means that they can't change it, that says, I called this particular police officer and this particular police officer did whatever. Then we went a little bit further. Once you have a statistic that you can actually report back and forth, we allow a service provider to declare what we call an SLA. An SLA is a service level agreement, which means that we are saying that as citizens, that as the service providers in our community need to promise us with a certain level of service delivery. We're talking about now taking power away from these institutions and putting it back into the hands of the people, and people can declare that, look, when I say that there's a street light broken out the street, the government needs to respond to this in a certain amount of time, and we can track how well it's being done. This is something that we have not seen anywhere else, right? Then we went a step further, because we're just like that. We incorporated schools, we incorporated hospitals, we incorporated medical emergencies, issues to deal with people in rural areas into a centralized system. And the way that the centralized system works and how it responds can be determined by the communities that it affects. This is a very sophisticated system. I'll bore you all with it, how it works. But at the end of the day, it is a postmodern solution. And I say that to say that Africa is headed towards being, I think we're at 1.6 billion people now. So we actually have more people on this continent than there are people in China. And between now and 2050, we will have several megacities. We have about 5 of them now. We'll have several megacities here on this continent. Megacities cannot work in the current model that we have here. We need solutions that don't catch up, but actually go beyond what's available in the so-called first world countries. And we believe that as Meritor Technologies, the system that we've put in place actually begins to move us in this way. We have foreign governments coming here telling us about democracy. And we're saying that a system such as this, that empowers the communities to say, this is how the government needs to respond to our needs, through SLAs, through traceability, through accountability. This is the way towards true democracy, right? So one of the really powerful things about our system is that it allows us to define a set of what we call workflows, which are a set of events that happen based upon something else happening. So for instance, I'm gonna give you an example of how the system works. Let's just say that you're driving around one day and you get into an accident, right? So the first thing that happens is that you want police to be dispatched to come on the scene, right? So open up our software, register that you've had an accident, take some pictures, it gets sent into the system, it gets routed to police, and the police say, this is an accident that is blocking the road, therefore I need to communicate with major hospitals in the area to let them know that this road is blocked, because it's gonna affect how much time it takes for ambulances to get to the hospital. So now the ambulance is updated with this information. From there, since the ambulance is being updated with this information, there might be another follow-on effect. Maybe schools in the area, maybe it's a bad accident that had an oil spill. They need to be notified. And then since the school needs to be